Hi, my name's Jim Felich. I'm a retired software developer. I owned a company called Pandora Data Systems, which I sold to Omnicell recently. And so now I am full-time retired. And I've been, for the last, well, since the 60s anyway, been involved with hardware and software development, computer systems, and that type of thing. And so just wanted to give you an idea of my background and the kind of things that I've worked on. Currently, I'm doing a photovoltaic system. I call it my solar system, and the components of that are shown here. This is the main brains of the outfit. This is a user interface for manually controlling the solar panels. This is the processor used for the logic and so on. This is a little solar charger for generating the power to run the positioner and this logic board. These are a couple little motor drivers for driving the north-south and the east-west motors. And just a little interconnect board to get everything to the outside world. It all fits inside this package here, which is weather tight, and this is the 12-volt battery that is charged by the solar cell. That's this guy here, which is just a small 10-watt cell used to provide the power for the positioning system. This is a little Legos version of the system that seeks the sun automatically. That's the east-west, and of course the north-south goes the other direction. I've used many types of microprocessors. This particular one is built on a PIC. As you can see, it's an 18F4550, and but I also use propellers. This is the propeller chip, and I use other types, but those are my two favorites. I have a number of breadboards and development packages. That's the PIC32, the 32-bit processor, and as you can see, I've got quite a group of things. This is the unit that holds the sun detection system, which uses two types of positioning. This is the prototype version of it, using LEDs to detect the east and the west and the east and the north and the south, and also the ambient light. That was the prototype. This is the going to be the final version once I get it put back together again, or put together. And again, that's all housed in this weather-tight little guy that will be part of the positioning system, and it will follow the sun. And then also, as a secondary positioner, I'm using a video camera, and I will use the video camera to actually look at the sun and give me a secondary positioning set of coordinates to back up the first one, so that for things like overcast days and so on that might confuse the LED positioner, the video one will give me the absolute ability to detect the brightest spot in the sky and position the system that way. And I've got a lot of my test equipment and different sorts of goodies that are around. Also, the system is going to use, you probably can't see that very well, but basically I have a weather system up on the roof that watches the And let's see if we can see that. Yeah, that watches the wind speed. This is actually the live feed from that unit up on the roof. And it's obviously transmitted wirelessly, and it's on the same frequency as these little guys, which are the receiver and transmitter of that same frequency. So I'm going to be interpreting the output from the weather positioner and then using the that information to tell me when things might be, the weather might be getting rough, and in which case we need to park the system so that it presents the minimum well, the minimum sail effect, so that it is as safe as it can possibly be. And these are the actual camera that will be used. This is the NTSC camera that I will actually be using, and it will also be mounted inside this weather-tight enclosure. So anyway, so that gives you a rough idea of the kind of things that I'm working on. In my shop, I've got a CNC lathe, CNC mill, I'm sorry, and I've also got a manual mill and a small lathe for creating whatever sorts of widgets that I need. Also, I have workspace for doing other mechanical types of things, a few spare parts, and then further on inside I've got a laser cutter and etcher, and also a 3D printer for making little things like ducks and so on. And then I've got my electronic assembly area where I have my solder stations and all the little fine stuff to be able to see what I'm doing. And then of course I've got a workstation. This one has 4 monitors that are asleep at the moment. Let's see if we can wake them up. And so this is where I do my thinking, essentially. And also have a lot of hardware components, and as you can see, an array of capacitors and resistors and other little goodies that help me prototype things. So that gives you a rough idea of my background. And again, I've outlined the actual project, the hospital decontamination disinfecting station monitoring, and this satisfies the requirement that you had for a video. Describing the project again seems sort of redundant, so this at least gives you an idea to see what I look like and what my environment is. Thank you very much.